Today on ZZZ Made Easy, we're going back undercover with Jane. This guide will cover Jane's main mechanics, how you can build her, and some tips you can go into. I will also discuss the buffs Jane has received in version 3.1. To access these changes, you need to purchase Jane's potential silhouettes from the Potential Archive shop. I'll link a separate guide for that if you have no idea how all this works. Jane is an S-rank physical anomaly agent from the new Eridu Public Security. Jane features one of the most unique anomaly mechanics in that she allows assault damage to crit. To inflict more of her critical assaults, Jane needs to manage her passion state gauge. She's a very dodge-reliant agent who loves having as much field time as possible. While Jane's buffs are on the smaller side, she has gotten really strong interactions with newer anomaly agents. For example, the new Vortex playstyle is kinda what Jane has wanted to do since the beginning. It's all about relentlessly staying on the hunt. Let's start with how Jane deals damage as an anomaly agent. Jane's attacks will fill the physical anomaly gauge and trigger assault. This deals one instance of anomaly damage equal to 713% attack. For the next 10 seconds, enemies will enter the Flinch state where they take an increased 7.5% daze. The physical anomaly is very straightforward, fill the circular gauge as fast as possible over and over. For her standout trait, Jane's core passive will alter that physical anomaly. When Jane hits an enemy, they enter the nod state for 10 seconds. During this time, any physical damage triggered can crit, and the falling Flinch state lasts for 5 seconds longer. First off, Jane only needs to hit the enemy to apply the nod state. After that, any physical agent can trigger the critical assaults and the longer lasting Flinch state. Flinch lasting for 15 seconds technically increases Jane's damage contributions. You have more time to trigger disorder, and there is a damage bonus based on time remaining. This also applies to physical vortex, but unfortunately this bonus is pretty small. We'll still take it though. Continuing, the main part of Jane's core passive are her critical assaults. They will have a base crit rate of 40% and a set crit damage of 50%. To improve the crit rate, you do not build the actual crit rate stat on Jane. Rather, every point of Jane's anomaly proficiency will increase the assault crit rate by 0.16%. Jane needs 375 AP if you want a 100% crit rate. Anomaly agents want as much AP as possible, and any half-decent build should hit 375 AP no problem. Since Jane should have a 100% crit rate with a set 50% crit damage, basically all her assaults deal 1.5 times the normal damage of a regular assault. It goes without saying, that's pretty powerful. What makes this ability so intriguing is that Jane causes any assault damage to crit. As an example, Alice's special polarity assault still deals assault damage, therefore it can crit. In Season 3, the Wind Anomaly introduced a Vortex. Vortex replaces Disorder, but the Physical Vortex actually counts as assault damage. That means Physical Vortex will crit as well. Balancing critical anomalies seems a little volatile, but the devs are buffing this ability. From the rework, Jane's Potential Awakening passive states, when Jane triggers her critical assaults, they gain plus 30% crit damage. So instead of 50%, Jane's assaults now have 80% crit damage. Her Mindscape 2 will get a wild 130% crit damage. Now the wording on this passive is very important. The plus 30% crit damage only applies if Jane is the one triggering assault. If Jane fills up the entire anomaly gauge but an ally gets the last hit, the assault only gets the normal 50%. From our examples, Alice's polarity assaults and the physical vortex only get 50% crit damage as well. It's clear the devs are trying to be careful buffing this ability. They've specifically tuned it so Jane has to be the one getting the last hit, plus other assault damage sources are not getting the buff. Moving on, Jane's addition ability is pretty straightforward. She needs an anomaly ally or a fellow new Eridu Public Security agent. This ability increases Jane's anomaly build-up rate by 20%. If the enemy has an active anomaly on them, then Jane gets an additional 15% build-up rate. Since triggering anomalies is how anomaly agents deal damage, faster build-up rate directly translates into more damage. Double anomaly teams or triple anomaly teams with Remiel are the standard, so Jane should always have this effect ready on hand. Let's do a quick review to summarize Jane's mechanics so far. When Jane hits an enemy, they enter the nod state for 10 seconds. Triggering any assault damage during this time gives it a chance to crit and extends the Flinch state. Jane's assault crit rate is based on her anomaly proficiency stat, and it has a set 50% crit damage. The Potential Awakening passive bumps us up to 80%, but only when Jane is the one triggering the assault. As for her additional ability, it increases her anomaly build-up rate. More anomalies equals more damage, plain and simple. Jane's in-combat mechanic revolves around her passion resource bar. When Jane triggers a perfect dodge, defensive assist, or deals damage, she accumulates passion stream. Fill the entire passion stream bar to enter the passion state. In passion state, Jane's anomaly build-up rate increases yet again by 25%. For every point of Anomaly proficiency Jane has above 120, she gains 2 attack. If you have 420 AP, Jane can get the max buff of 600 attack. During Passion State, Jane's attacks gain orangey red after images, and she gets access to a few new moves. Ideally, you want to be in Passion State for as much as possible because Jane will trigger anomalies faster and she gets that attack buff. The tricky part is that every time Jane deals damage, she will consume Passion Stream. When Jane runs out of Passion Stream entirely, she's going to exit the state and need to refill the bar. Since Passion State alters a couple moves, let's cover Jane's regular moveset first. Jane has a 6-part basic attack string. Her circular leg sweep 5th basic has iframes, and the 6th basic has iframes while airborne. The entire basic attack string builds about 70% Passion Stream. Jane's 6th basic attack now counts as a dash attack. This change does not affect Jane's kit directly. The dash attack trait is meant to activate Jane's signature W engine, Sharpen Stinger. Basically, it's just quality of life. Jane's perfect dodge will grant about 20% Passion Stream. I believe Jane's still the only agent with 3 dodge chances instead of 2. Normally you can dodge twice in succession before it goes on a short cooldown. With Jane, you can do 3 panic dodges if you're unsure of an incoming attack. Jane's regular dash attack is a little underwhelming. It grants about 10% Passion Stream, but it does not chain to any other moves, and it doesn't really lunge the enemy. Jane's dodge counter will grant about 25% Passion Stream. This move will chain into the 3rd basic after. Jane has the regular defensive assist that costs 2 assist points versus big boss attacks. However, she actually gains about 70% Passion Stream from her defensive assists plus the follow-up. Fairly quick way to get into Passion State. To demonstrate this, the assist follow-up chains into Jane's 3rd basic. If you just keep attacking, by the 5th basic, Jane will already enter Passion State. Last, we have Jane's EX Special. For 60 energy, this spinning kick grants about 40% Passion Stream. However, the move will grant less passion and inflict less anomaly buildup if you started from far away. Jane ideally wants to be right next to the enemy to get the full benefits. Once in the Passion State, Jane's damage dealing moves are now going to consume Passion Stream. For example, the 6-part basic attack string consumes about 55%. You can do 2 full basic attack combos before you gotta rebuild Passion Stream. Passion State gives Jane a few new animations. The Passion Dash attack is a major upgrade from before. Jane now lunges to the target from much farther, and it chains directly into her 4th basic now. The Passion Dash attack consumes about 10% Passion Stream. If you do the 4th, 5th, and 6th basics after, you consume about 50% of the gauge, very similar to a full basic attack string. For another new animation, Jane's EX Special in Passion State has been replaced with her Onslaught version from Hollow Zero. Unfortunately, it doesn't really have any major upgrades from the original Spinning Kick version. It still costs 60 energy, it still consumes roughly 20% Passion Stream, and you still want to use it relatively up close for the full effect. The Onslaught EX Special does have higher anomaly buildup, but it's not a huge difference. Generally speaking, it doesn't change how you use it from before. The EX Special is just a large amount of buildup on demand. A core part of Jane's gameplay will be finding ways to recover Passion Stream while in Passion State. Her main method will be her hold basic attack, Salchow Jump. Whenever Jane enters or refreshes the Passion State, she will gain 1 use of Salchow Jump. This is represented by the dot on her UI. Hold basic attack and Jane will start a deadly spin, which recovers Passion Stream as you hit the enemy. You can still use Salchow Jump even while out of Passion State. Now as part of the buff, Salchow Jump can spin for slightly longer, so a full spin now grants roughly around 50% Passion Stream. Jane does not move around a lot, so finding an opening to use Salchow Jump is one of your main challenges. It does have increased anti-interrupt and gives Jane damage reduction, but there is a much better option than just spinning to win. If you hold, then release the button, Jane will transition to the finishing move early. If you release the button right before getting hit, Jane now triggers a perfect dodge. If you get the perfect dodge, the Salchow Jump finisher will restore more Passion Stream than usual. For my best guesstimate, it appears to roughly restore 50%. That's pretty good, but you should also remember that since we scored a perfect dodge, Jane restores another 20%. In total, that's at least 70% regained. However, there's a 3rd factor. You still get Passion Stream from the actual spinning part of Salchow Jump. With a decent spin and a perfect dodge trigger, it is possible for Jane to recover 100%. The buffs make Salchow Jump even more valuable than before. You only get 1 chance to use it though, but if you find the right opportunity, then Jane walks out with a nearly refilled or fully refilled Passion Stream bar. Next, the following moves will both grant and consume Passion Stream. Like before, the actual defensive assist parry grants Passion Stream, but now the assist follow-up is going to consume it. You can still come out ahead by about 10 to 15%, and it builds a decent amount of Anomaly though. Jane's Passion State will change her dodge animation. This also lets her dodge pass through enemies, which can be nice if you get cornered like in Operation Bagel. Now the Passion Dodge counter has a new sweeping animation. You still get a net gain of about 10% Passion Stream while building Anomaly, so dodge counter is very worth doing. In addition, the Passion Dodge counter now chains into Jane's 5th basic attack. That move has some iframes, so it's a good follow-up, plus you're now at Jane's 6th basic already. Jane's chain attack and ultimate are pretty important moves for her. First off, they both refresh the Passion State entirely and re-enable Salchow Jump usage. Because these moves deal damage though, they will then consume about 35% of the remaining Passion Stream bar. Jane's chain attack does a little less Anomaly buildup than her EX special. Her ultimate does about double the amount of buildup as the EX special. Regardless, both of these moves are major sources of buildup, and re-enabling Salchow Jump will just let Jane continue fighting. With Jane's main moves covered, let's talk about using them to maintain Passion State. Since you keep Salchow Jump outside of Passion State, you can use it to get back into the state very quickly. A full spin gives about 50%, but try and get the perfect dodge timing for 70 or even 100% full refill. Honestly, it's not a bad idea thanks to the changes, plus you get your full Salchow Jump use back. Keep in mind, if you use Salchow Jump before exiting Passion State, you will not get another activation chance even if you refill the bar. The only way to reuse the move is to exit, then re-enter Passion State, or you have to use chain attack / ultimate. Now the advantage of using Salchow Jump during Passion State is that it's getting the Passion State bonuses, faster build-up rate, and more damage. Salchow Jump actually does decent Anomaly build-up, so it's not just a Passion Stream recovery tool. Since Shield Defense and Deadly Assault don't judge you on how much damage you take, feel free to use the damage reduction part while spinning. Maybe you can spin for longer to trigger an assault, then get the perfect dodge at a later point. For some extra info on Salchow Jump, the finishing move actually chains into Jane's dash attack. If it's the Passion dash attack, that chains into the 4th basic, which can make for a nifty combo. If you don't mind swapping out, Jane can perfect assist while spinning, and this triggers the perfect dodge. No need to release the basic attack at all, so this is a great maneuver to keep in mind. For stun phases, typically Anomaly agents are just focusing on triggering their anomalies as quick as possible, but we still want to be efficient with our big Anomaly building moves. After a chain attack, if you're close to triggering Assault, Jane can just basic attack or use Salchow Jump. After the Assault proc, she can then use Ultimate to set up a second Assault. If you are not close to triggering Assault, then Jane can use the faster EX special first. If you still need more Anomaly, basic attack or use Salchow Jump, then follow up with Ultimate after. If Jane's chain attack triggers Assault itself, feel free to go straight into the Ultimate. During stun phases, we are on a timer, so even though this may waste a Salchow Jump use, triggering a second Assault faster may be worth it. That could let Jane's allies come in for disorder after, during the stun timer still. Now if you're facing the big bosses, Jane can utilize double chain attacks. After the first chain attack, cancel the second prompt. From here, you can just swap out, trigger the heavy attack, then send Jane back in a second time. However, you can also use Salchow Jump in between. The second chain attack is going to refresh Passion State and grant another use of Salchow Jump, so you might as well use the old one first. Of course, this is up to you. Anomaly teams need to be very flexible depending on the situation. If you only need 2 chain attacks to trigger Assault, then skipping Salchow Jump may be the better play. The general idea for these stun phase combos is that you do not want to waste your big Anomaly building moves when the gauge is almost full. Jane's EX Special, Chain Attack, and Ultimate do not trigger Assault until the end of their animations. If you almost fill the gauge then press Ultimate, that's a huge waste of build-up that could have gone to the next Assault. You can apply this idea to the physical Anomaly Drive Disc set, Fanged Metal. The 4-piece effect grants 35% damage after any Assault trigger. Simply put, after the first Assault, your next Assault should deal more damage. The issue is that this buff only lasts for 12 seconds. If you trigger Assault then swap out to trigger Disorder or whatever, then you're maybe wasting the 12-second buff timer. One solution is to try and stick around after triggering Assault so you can fill up the next gauge using that 35% damage buff. Jane does have her 15-second Flinch state, so this does give more leeway for your Disorder partner to trigger their own anomalies. That is a nice bonus to keep in mind. For the last topic of the main guide, I want to cover Jane's critical Assault interactions and what allies to watch for if you like using Jane. Physical Blooms, Polarity Assault, and Physical Vortex are 3 anomaly mechanics that can crit thanks to Jane. These all get counted as assault damage, although Ablooms and Vortex each do a separate crit check from Jane's own assault. That only matters if you don't have 100% crit rate though. Most recently, Remyo introduced Luminize damage, which can copy Jane's physical damage attribute. However, Luminize damage is not considered assault damage. Therefore, Luminize does not crit. It would have been kind of insane if it did though. Along with Jane allowing newer Anomaly mechanics to crit, her buffs are on the smaller side because there have been some insane Anomaly related agents to team up with. For example, Yuzuha is a premier Anomaly support, and she can grant extra buildup of any attribute via her Sugar Burst Sparkles. Because Yuzuha is a physical agent, her own skills add even more buildup naturally. Remyo is her first supportive Void Hunter, and she enables triple Anomaly team comps. While she is the team's buffer, Remyo also brings an incredible amount of Luminize burst damage. She may not trigger critical Luminizes, but Remyo mostly works from off-field and increases build-up rate for the team. Probably the most impactful addition for Jane has been Valina and the Wind Anomaly. Windswept stays on the enemy for 30 seconds and does not go away when Jane triggers Assault. The Vortex playstyle simply wants Jane to trigger Assault over and over and over without needing to swap back and forth like Disorder. This gives Jane the most amount of field time, which is what Jane has wanted since her release. Add on the fact that Physical Vortex can crit, and well, it's fairly obvious why Valina is such a great ally for Jane. Basically, if you want to play Jane as your primary on-fielder, you really want Valina. Yuzuha and Remyo are important too, but until we get a second Wind Anomaly agent, the Vortex playstyle is kinda locked to Valina alone. Moving on to builds, Jane ideally wants 420 AP to get the 600 attack buff from Passion State, plus she's gonna get 100% crit rate for her assaults. Of course, Anomaly agents just want as much AP and attack as possible. Jane's signature W engine is Sharpened Stinger. It grants 90 AP, and dash attacks grant a stack of Predatory Instinct, which increases physical damage by 12%. This lasts for 10 seconds and can stack up to 3 times. When entering battle or when triggering Perfect Dodge, Jane would just get 3 stacks already. At max stacks, Jane can get 40% increased Anomaly build-up rate. Sharpened Stinger gives Jane AP, physical damage, and faster build-up. The Rework added dash attack tags to the 6th basic and EX specials because the stack timer is only 10 seconds. Salchow Jump can also trigger a Perfect Dodge to fully refresh stacks. You could always just do a manual dash attack before, but hopefully that's less of an issue now. For other S ranks, Alice's Practice Perfection gives attack, physical damage, and 60 Anomaly Mastery. AM and build-up rate are the same thing, but at least from my testing, I'm pretty sure things like Sharpened Stinger's build-up rate buff is a plus 40%. 60 Anomaly Mastery would then be plus 60%, so you can get faster build-up with Practice Perfection. The one issue is that it grants no AP. All your Anomaly proficiency is going to come from your drive disc. Jane can use other AP, attack, and build-up rate / Anomaly Mastery S ranks. Since you can lose the 50-50 to it now, you can also try Unagi's Time Weaver, which includes a rare Disorder damage buff. For A-Rank W engines, we have 3 75 AP main set options. The Event Boisterous Echoes is similar to the Battle Pass Electro Lip Gloss, but it has no attack buff. Meanwhile, Rainforest Gourmet can grant a large amount of attack, but only for 10 seconds after an EX special. Since Anomaly teams generally trigger multiple Anomaly procs before a stun, Weakened Gemini can grant a huge stacking AP buff. Typically it's the go-to choice, and it is craftable. For Drive Disc main stats, Jane typically wants Anomaly Proficiency Partition 4, Physical Damage, Percent Attack or Pen Ratio Partition 5, and Anomaly Mastery Partition 6. For 4-piece sets, Fang Metal is the general physical anomaly set, 10% physical damage, and after triggering any assault, the user gets 35% more physical damage for 12 seconds. We discussed earlier that if you swap out after triggering assault but don't come back within 12 seconds, then you will waste a damage buff. As such, the Vortex playstyle really suits this set since Jane just stays on field almost the entire fight. Balancing uptime with Disorder is going to be a little more tricky. For 2-piece sets, Jane would appreciate more AP. We now have 3 sets with Freedom Blues, Chaos Chaz, and Feathered Fate. You can of course use the 10% attack 2-piece sets. For just a touch more anomaly buildup, there is 2-piece Faithless Melody. If you stack Pen Ratio with Partition 5, you could also use 2-piece Puffery Electro. Typical anomaly teams utilize 2 anomaly agents to trigger Disorder back and forth. If you have Valina, you can instead focus on triggering Physical Vortex over and over. Both of these want a 3rd slot team buffer. With Remyo, we now have triple anomaly team comps. Remyo is both the team buffer and a damage dealer. We already discussed Jane's main allies to partner up with. The strongest Vortex team will consist of Jane and Valina plus Remyo or Yuzuha. With Remyo, you need to find time to fit in her own Luminize combo, while with Yuzuha, you primarily focus on Jane most of the fight. For non-Vortex teams, Jane enjoys the two other off-field Anomaly agents, Bernice and Vivian. Bernice is going to be easier to manage, while with Vivian, you generally want to time EX specials so they cause a bloom on Jane's critical assaults. Unfortunately, Jane does not build the most amount of energy, and with a 60 energy EX special, she can struggle to trigger all of Vivian's feather blooms efficiently. It's still a workable team, but you can run into some issues. For other disorder pairings, Jane can work with more on-field Anomaly agents such as Grace, Miyabi, Yanagi, etc. It may not be the best or most synergistic pairings, but they can work. For a pure physical Anomaly team, Jane plus Alice is fun, although it's definitely better if you have their Anomaly build-up signatures. These two will get to cause disorder thanks to Polarity Assault, and if you use Remiel, you can have a rare triple physical DPS team. For newer players, you can try Remiel, Jane, and Piper, but there's not going to be any disorder procs. For other supports, Anomaly teams want any team attack buffer. You can use Astra, Zhao, Suna, or the A-rank Lucy. Rina now has higher uptime on her pen ratio buffs, plus she also tacks on 500 attack, so she's fine as well. If you want to stack Deep and Shred, Nicole is an option, but you need to trigger Assault while her debuff is active. One team building issue for Jane is that her additional ability requires a second Anomaly agent or a PubSec agent. Jane as the lone Anomaly agent will not be at full power unless you use Seth. While Jane and Seth were made to go together, Disorder or Vortex teams are generally just stronger. Now, there is another single Anomaly team comp, and that involves Nangong. Jane and Nangong are actually quite fun together, but you're not getting Jane's additional ability. That being said, with allies like Yuzuha, you can kinda just brute force it to take advantage of Nangong's much better days and much higher Anomaly buildup compared to Seth. For a super fun team comp, you can try Jane, Nangong, and Remiel. The main issue is that you lose Jane's additional ability and you severely nerf Remiel's support buffs. I understand why they don't want Remiel and Nangong to work together, but it's a shame because it's a really fun time. Next, let's briefly cover Jane's Mindscapes. For M1, Jane gains extra use of Salchow Jump. When in Passion State, Jane gets an extra plus 15% Anomaly build-up rate and can get 30% bonus damage if she has 300 AP. Mindscape 1's pretty good simply for more build-up rate and an extra Salchow Jump. With the new Perfect Dodge trigger, you should be able to stay or get back into Passion State very often. For Mindscape 2, Jane's attacks and any assault triggers on foes in the nod state will ignore 15% of the foe's defense. Additionally, when assault damage triggers a crit, its crit damage is increased by plus 50%. In total, with her new potential weakening passive, Jane's assaults deal 130% crit damage. Everyone else still deals a crazy 100% crit damage. Jane's M2 is probably one of the best Mindscapes in the game. Any critical assault deals double the damage of a regular assault. Jane's own assaults deal 2.3 times the damage of a regular assault. That is insane. For M4, when any squad member triggers assault or disorder, the team gets an 18% anomaly damage buff for 15 seconds. Anomaly damage buffs are hard to come by, so actually a decent Mindscape 4. For M6, while in the Passion state, Jane gains plus 20% crit rate with plus 40% crit damage. This time, these are the actual crit rate and crit damage stats. To go with this, when any assault triggers, Jane deals additional damage based on her AP. I do not believe this is anomaly damage. M6 kinda gives Jane hybrid damage like Miyabi, but I don't think 20% crit rate is enough unless you have serious drive to substats. For a more useful effect, anytime assault is triggered, M6 will instantly refresh Passion state. Yeah, that is probably way more important for Jane. If you want to invest in Jane, then her signature is okay, but her M2 is so ridiculous that it's probably the primary goal for the dedicated fans. M1 is also good though. Another Salchow Jump use is a really nice quality of life bump. For the after party tips section, let's cover the rest of Jane's moves and discuss a few tips. Jane's dodging left and right actually leads to 2 sets of dash attacks and 2 dodge counter animations. This only applies to the regular dash attack and regular dodge counter. Both animations seem to deal the same damage days and anomaly buildup, so basically it's just for pure style points from the devs. Jane's quick assist has the same animation as her dodge counter and also changes into the 3rd basic attack. It seems to grant about 15% passion stream. The passion quick assist is just like the passion dodge counter, so it leads into the 5th basic. This move seems to consume about 15% passion stream. Jane's regular special grants about 7 to 8% passion stream and has iframes while airborne. It's also a heavy attack if needed. The passion version consumes about 10% passion stream. I would say it's not worth doing since it does not exactly build a lot of anomaly for the cost. If you try to use Jane's moves when low in passion state, she actually will exit passion state midway and start converting the remaining damage into passion stream for the next activation. This may seem like a loophole, but it appears you also lose the passion state bonuses midway. Basically, while you can use, say, the EX special at the end of passion state, you're gonna lose the extra build-up rate and 600 attack for the tail end of the move. Arguably, it could still be worth doing, but you're not getting free passion stream or anything like that. Last, since Jane is used in the example trial, let's talk about the assist counter tech. It involves 3 button presses in a row very quickly. You need to perfect dodge a hit, press basic attack to do the counter, then immediately you want to press swap to trigger a perfect assist. Dodge, attack, swap in that order. You need to start the dodge counter early enough so the perfect assist window is still available. It's all about timing. This is a fun advanced tech to add into your gameplay, and any agent can do it. Jane benefits from it nicely though because her dodge counter grants passion stream while applying Anomaly. Overall, Jane is mostly the same, but she got a couple quality of life updates and a small buff to her own critical assaults. The main upgrades for Jane have been the newer Anomaly agents and mechanics released since her debut. Jane causing some of them to crit can lead to some powerful synergies. The new Vortex playstyle via the Wind Anomaly is the best example because it also lets Jane stay on the hunt most of the fight. Jane's swimsuit actually has a voice line mentioning Vortex. I'm sure that's just a coincidence, but you do have to wonder if maybe things have been planned that far in advance. Anyway, Jane's a fun agent to play, and during version 3.1, you can actually get her for free with her signature via the anniversary rewards. Considering her swimsuit was also free last season, it's just been a real good time for fans of the brand. Thank you for watching, enjoy Jane with her new buffs, and I will see you in the next video.